Barbershop conversation, guys. Feel free to hit the subscribe button. So, I was talking to CB Sports TV. Go ahead and subscribe to his channel, CB Sports TV. And I I was talking to him about as the world we live in today, right? And not unbeknownst to me, but a revelation came, right? And as a black man in this country, and I'm gonna add Mexicans in there too, Latinos, excuse me. We carry men. I don't know if I said black men and Latino men. We carry so much trauma on a daily basis, and to all the white people that's listening and it's gonna tell us blacks and Latinos how to live, fuck them. Don't ever, before I get into my monologue, when a non-person of your race tells you how you're supposed to respond to something, you have the option to spit on them, you have the option to slap them, you have the option to punch them, or you have the option to walk away, and not give them any of your energy. All those A, B, C, or D are all acceptable. I'm tired of living in a society where they got to tell us how we should respond, how we should act when things in our culture impact us. When they get to go home, live their hunky-dory lives, and not carry the trauma that we carry on a daily basis. And why this came to head, right, is I'm talking to Carl Burrell, and you guys can see in the video I'm in LA, and I see my tenants come out, a Latino man, right, and he comes out, and then his mom comes out at separate times, not at the same time, and as I'm talking to Carl Burrell, I'm looking into my units, and I can totally tell, totally see, and totally feel how they got to put pieces together to make ends meet, right? And me growing up in the same community where this building is, it's I've never rid the trauma of my childhood, because where do you take it? Like, it's not something that a psychologist, you can talk through with a psychologist, because when you get up and go to work the next day, they're going to have their thumb on your neck. When you go to school, it's going to be a remedial education. When you walk down the street, some woman's going to clutch her purse. When you get on the elevator, there's so much trauma, and I think it's just important that we accept this. I didn't know that. I mean, it coming in, but I always title it differently, like being black in America. Like that's the one thing I'm an expert on, is being a black man in America, right? But I've never titled it as, or never accepted it as, trauma. And people aren't going, and I'm only talking to my fellas right now, my black and Latino men. I think it's important that we understand the trauma that we're carrying every day, and understand the genesis of it, right? And how we sometimes lash out because we're not identifying where the pain comes from, where the hurt comes from. And regardless of how hardworking I am, regardless of how hardworking you are, no matter how successful you are, how beautiful your family is, you have to come to grips with this trauma. And don't worry about other people not understanding the trauma it is to be a minority in America. Fuck them. All right? This is only a conversation that a Latino man can have with a Latino man, and a black man can have with a black man. We can identify your trauma, but from a 100% perspective, have this conversation with your Latino brothers. You understand what I'm saying? Where We're good enough to work for you, but we're not good enough to lead your corporation. You know, like, we need affirmative action to get accepted into college. They redline our communities. J. Edgar Hoover say, what's his biggest fear? Is a unified black culture. You know, they rob us of or Latinos, they rob you of your land, you know, and they just name every street after it, and they con you and make you think that you still own the land, you know. So there are similarities. There's a high level of similarities, right? But there is definite cultural differences that we cannot identify, but we understand the struggle, we understand the hurt, because in addition to each other's brother's keeper, just as important as that, we are each other's literal neighbor, right? In every hood all across America, there's a black, Latino, a liquor store, drunkard, hard-working families trying to make ends meet, putting all their hopes in their kids that they will lead their last name to the promised land. And that's just the reality of it. And I was having this conversation, and obviously what spun this is the Nipsey Hussle situation, right? And the trauma, like, that I go through, that you go through when a Latino man gets murdered, or assassinated, shit. When a black man gets assassinated, the trauma that we go through, even if we can't physically identify with them, there's still the trauma of, like, man, I got to be home by 8 o'clock. I got to get everything from the liquor store before sunset. Like, we've all had these conversations. I don't give, if you grew up in any hood in America, we've all had these conversations. The policeman is on my left. I see him through my rearview mirror, hands on 10 and 2. That's trauma, right? And it's so important that we become earnest and honest with ourselves as it relates to this. All right. And it's something that you have to deal with to be great in this society. And I didn't know I was saying this when I tell people, in order to be a great man in America, and I'm talking to all my black brothers, you have to be a great black man first. And you have to deal with the trauma. You have to deal with... So, anyhow, man, these are just genuine thoughts that I've been having literally all day since this morning. And, yeah, man. So, anyways, man, barbershop conversations. I love you guys. And I reiterate to all my Latino brothers, man, don't ever let someone tell you how you're supposed to feel. Don't ever let someone tell you how you're supposed to feel about Proposition, something that's alienating your fellow countrymen. You know, don't let these legislators and your boss that works in the air-conditioned room and drives his company car to and from work, don't let him convince you that it's not good for America, for your brown brothers and sisters to come over to America and do it the right way and live a great life thereafter, okay? And all my black brothers, don't let America fool you into believing that it's just basketball, rapping, and trapping, I'm trying to think of the word, the aura of the black man, the identity of the black man in America is not just that. We are a whole person with a whole brain, with a whole charisma that drives the American culture and drives the American market, period. You know, and I just want to say I love y'all from the depths of me. I think it's just important that You have these conversations with this. I've never had this conversation with myself until today from this perspective. I've had it from another perspective, but I've never used the word trauma ever in my life. I've never used the word trauma. I've always said, oh man, you know, it's like I have a boys in the hood lifestyle. You know, if you've seen the movie Boys in the Hood, that was my life. You know, grew up in the hood. My best friend had a father. I had a mother. We played sports. One of our friends get killed. One of another friend has a chance to go to the NFL. He doesn't go. That's my Boys in the Hood is literally my life. I have a friend who survived a drive-by shooting. That's literally my life. Like, for real. And that's your life. Because that's urban America. John Singleton did that. You know what I mean? Who I fortunately enough, I see him quite often. We live in the same community. So anyhow, man, I just want to say I love y'all. And my Latino brothers, my black brothers, have these conversations. Have this conversation with yourself. It is important. All right? And if an Asian person, if a white person, if a Mexican man tries to tell a black man, if a black man tries to tell the Mexican man, you got options. You can spit on him. You can punch him. You can slap him. Or you can just walk away. No one should tell you how you should feel as it relates to your culture. Everyone's an expert on trying to tell me how I should feel about slaying black men. Oh, you should get over it. Oh, he was a gangbanger. Oh, he don't do... Huh? You get what I'm saying? So, at the end of the day, man, I love y'all. We gonna keep on fighting. You know what I mean? And I understand the power of a fist. The power is not just that a fist generates more inertia, which creates momentum, which generates more power, but it's unified. So it's four fingers and one thumb, right? It's a symbol of unification. You know what I mean? So in addition to power, in addition to generating strength, you know what I mean? So anyways, man, Barbershop Conversations, man, feel free to hit the subscribe button. I got 35 more miles, then my car will be charged, and I'm going home. And that's it. So Barbershop Conversations, man. I appreciate you guys. I love you guys, and I'll talk to you guys real soon. Peace.